So as I record this, it's been over 500,000 views on the first time videos, and who knows how many by the time you look at this. And there's been a lot of comments, mostly positive. People have been very, very enthusiastic, but lots of questions. And so we thought we put together this making of video to try to explain things a little bit more, to answer some of the questions. So first, let me say that it was never, ever our intention to make it seem like it's real or happening in real time or anything like that, because that would be impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but very difficult to meet all our objectives. So let me talk about that first. So this came to fruition as an idea about 3 years ago, when a friend of mine, Hillary, said, you know, the biggest issue when you're coming here for the first time is all the anxiety about what's going on and trying to understand what it's like, because you don't really know. You don't know what's beyond that gate. You don't know what you're going to have to do. Now, if you've been here, you know it's just the normal things, like you would almost going to a resort or any other place like that. A few differences beyond the fact that everybody's naked. But there's also a lot of questions always. And so we wanted to do that as a video so people could watch that. I thought Hillary's idea was brilliant. And so what we decided was, I put together this idea of the drive, because the drive is the most anxious part. And this is a chance for people to chat. So the big question was, who would do it? And, you know, don't want to have anybody too young or too old. You know, it's a trope that it's only old people in nudist camps and old fat men, whatever it is. So we're trying to be somewhere in between there. And the two people we cast, Lauren and Leslie, are right in the middle there. One's in her 30s, the other one is in her 40s. I won't tell you which one. You can guess, but I wouldn't necessarily tell them, because you will compliment one but probably offend the other. Or maybe they're proud of it. I don't know. Either way, they're in the middle. We have people from both sides. We talked about having a couple, but then a couple seems really like, oh, only couples are allowed. And that's not true. Singles are very welcome, and we don't want to go into that old trope. We talked about having two men, but we felt that guys don't have the same kind of discussion. And at the end of the day, the fear is greater with women. And they're the ones that have the concern that they're going to be objectified, as they are far more than men are. And in this kind of environment, well, not in this environment, but in the environment out there in the world, they're the ones who are suffering the most, who have the most anxiety about showing their bodies, who are judged the most for doing it. So it seemed appropriate to have two women doing it. So then we also wanted some diversity, which we found. It would have been nice if one was a little heavier than the other, I agree, but we also needed people who were willing to do it. We wanted people with the experience, because as much as this is not real, it is all spoken from their truth. All they were given was subjects. Leslie, who ironically has the most naturist experience, was given an outline of questions, which she knows people ask, because she's brought people here before, and she knows what it's like. She remembers. That's how powerful and intense the memories are. She remembers her first time and the anxiety, and she understands the questions. And Lauren, who's the newest, is really into it and really understands it. As you can see, she was not given the answers, other than she studied the overall answers from our websites, and she's certainly spoken with me and others many, many times over the last year and a bit that she's been coming to Bear Oaks. So it's real in that they're real naturists, and that's what we wanted, and that's how they were cast. And it's real because they're real questions. But of course, we didn't happen to just be there with Brady with the camera when Leslie decided to take her clothes off. And no, it was not her first time. But we wanted to show people what it's like, and we wanted to give them examples of the options. You don't have to take your clothes off right away, but you feel uncomfortable when you don't, and so you quickly adapt and you take your clothes off. And that's what we wanted to show. And yes, we are working towards a part 2. We have some ideas. It won't be for another year, because we'll film it next year. But we've already been chatting, because clearly this has been very popular and lots of people like it and are interested. So why don't we listen to Lauren and Leslie and Brady tell us their point of view of what it was like to do this, put together this video and film it and assemble it, and their feelings about it all. Hello, Leslie.
Hello, Stefan.
Hello, Lauren.
Hello.
So, are you a professional actress?
No, I am not a professional actress.
No?
No,
Have you had any acting training?
absolutely not.
I went to school to be an actor. After I did high school, I went to college for 3 years to study theater performance. It didn't pan out. I just had a bunch of kids instead. But I'm thrilled to be dipping my toes in the acting world again. It's
Well,
pretty cool.
I saw you doing community theater, and you did that very well. So you are acting.
Yeah.
You just, I guess you're not a professional because you don't get paid.
That is very true. I very much do it for the love, not for the money.
And was that your first visit to Bear Oaks?
100% not my first visit to Bear Oaks.
How long have you been coming here?
This is my 11th season.
Because you're kind of new. That's the irony, right? She
It's
plays
flipped.
the first time.
It's flipped. Leslie's been here for 10 years. We only started coming last summer. So it is actually flipped. She is the veteran and we're the newbies.
So, how did you manage to put on such a convincing performance? You have no formal training, no experience. It clearly wasn't your first time. You've been coming here for over a decade. How? Where did that come from?
Well, actually, that weekend I got to bring up my first guest that had never been here before and never experienced naturism. So the day before, I actually did have the drive up that was somewhat similar. I also spent a lot of time talking to people in the park when they first arrive and listening to them and their fears that were very similar to mine over 10 years ago.
The whole thing was improvised. We actually had some questions Leslie was to ask, and we sort of had a rough idea of how we should answer, but it was pretty much completely improvised. I basically kind of just said what I tell people that ask me in real life, and just did my best to sort of get as much information across and still make it seem natural.
We're over 500,000 views now. Well over 500,000 views. And did you expect that?
I don't think I expected it, but I also don't know that I ever considered how many views we were going to get. It was never really a part of the thought process. Everything was just one step at a time, like, get all the tech stuff figured out and then film it and then get it edited. And then it was nice. It's been nice to sit back and kind of just enjoy watching it climb. So I didn't expect it, but I didn't have a number in mind, really.
I had 2 previous experiences attempting naturism before arriving at Bear Oaks my first time. And one time I actually never even made it into the park. I drove down their driveway a couple times and the anxiety got to me. I turned around, left, and went home. Even though I had read about it for a couple years previously and talked to the owners and had everything packed and ready to go and my kids in the car, I never actually made it in. I had many experiences just like that a decade ago that I see are very familiar and always lets me relive my first time experiences.
And obviously, since you remember it very clearly, it must have had quite an impact on you.
It does. The first time you attempt to take your clothes off and show everybody your whole body, when that's something that you are perhaps insecure about or unaware of, like how people are going to react or how you compare to other people, can be one of the most unnerving things. And then you think it will be one of the most unnerving things until you experience it and realize it's actually one of the most freeing things you ever experience, and it will forever change the way you think about yourself and your body and how you're accepted.
I believe in this lifestyle. So, and it is the type of thing that people do tend to raise eyebrows about. So you have to kind of be prepared to answer the questions when people hear, I go to a naturist park and they're like, oh, what about the kids? And, oh, what do you mean everybody's naked? So you kind of get used to, really finding the truth and really finding the things that people resonate with hearing. And then you kind of have to do it over and over again. So a lot of it is stuff I'm used to talking about anyway.
The part that surprises me is how many people think it's real.
How many people think it's real, and then contrastly the people who think that, people who feel the need to point out that it's clearly fake.
That we're faking it.
Yeah, that we tried to make it real.
Yes.
I think
you just happened to be standing there with a camera when Leslie came out to check the license plate.
we always drive with three
We always
angles
have cameras
set up in the
everywhere,
And what's the reaction been to you being in this video?
But many people here that have been congratulating me how well I've adapted to nature's living so fast. And miraculously have no tan lines.
So for you, generally, it's true. When you say you bring your kids here, because you do.
I do.
The only part that wasn't true, and that was because I wanted was that you said you were not a member. But that's
right.
because I wanted people to know you don't have to be a member to come to Bear Oaks.
Absolutely.
And but other than that, do you feel that everything you said was true?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And what you believe in? Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. This was a super fun project to do, but it was especially near to my heart because it is something I deeply believe in. And, if in some way this could make people feel less ashamed of their body, feel more open, feel just moved to explore other ideas around nudity, that would make me so happy. So it's a project that I was really passionate about doing, and I'm thrilled that so many people are seeing this movie and are so enthusiastic and excited about it. And the idea of being part of something that might help people feel better about their bodies is amazing.
I've had people come over and share their very emotional experiences about their first time and how it's made them feel and how much better they feel about themselves and accepting themselves and other people and finding genuine friendships and feeling really genuine about their relationship with themselves.
Talk about the technical aspect. Like, how did we film it? Because you're the guy that made that happen.
Yeah, so filming it was interesting. We decided really early on that GoPros were the way to go because we needed something that we could easily mount inside of the car. We already had one, but we rented a couple more. And so video is a big thing, but so is sound and trying to get the proper sound. And so we had microphones on each of the women, but didn't end up using that microphone audio because the GoPro 9 audio was, by far superior. And I think the most fun part about the technical aspect was that the audio from the microphones that we had on them was being sent through a little mixer, through a cell phone to you in your car as you were tailing the car that they were in. And you were able to monitor and give any direct feedback if you needed to.
Yeah, there was a silver Tesla following you all the time, kind of creeping you. And
well, he knew they were going to a Naturist park.
you got to chase them and see where they're going.
Yeah.
And did it work out the way you expected?
It was definitely not quite what I expected. I think the end product turned out better than I could have imagined. The process was a lot more fun than I thought I expected it would be. And really quite, the way Brady and the cameras and the tech and everything came together, I was really blown away by how professional it all was and how professional the finished product was. So I have to say it exceeded my expectations. I didn't think it would be as great as it was.
So there is one more thing that's not true in there.
Okay, what was it?
Well, you and Leslie aren't besties.
No, that's
well, maybe
fair.
you are now.
We're not besties. We definitely know each other. We definitely met once briefly before filming, but that was kind of more or less the first time I had hung out with Leslie. And pretending to be her best friend was super fun and super easy because, you know, we already had all these things in common, and it was easy to find that chemistry, which was super nice. But no, it's true. We are not best friends. We don't even know each other all that well. So
Not yet.
not yet.
I've also had numerous friend requests and messages from people that misunderstand the meaning and would like some more naked pictures of me. And
You say people. I suspect they're mostly men.
absolutely, I don't think there's been a female, and I think at this point at least over 100 people have tried to reach me to talk about sex and get some naked pictures of me because they didn't see enough in the video.
Yes. I'm a nudist. Send pictures.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And how does that make you feel?
Actually, just pretty much feel sorry for them. I've done this for a long time now, and I feel sorry they don't understand what this is really about. I think earlier, like if it had happened to me 10 years ago, I probably would have been very disturbed and upset and felt violated and you know, felt like objectified by men. You know, why are they just wanting to see that part about me instead of listening to what I have to say? But I mean, it's been over a decade, so now it makes me just feel like I want to tell more people to come and visit and figure it out. So I try to bring as many friends as I can.
There's a fire